You know, every now and then on our journey to become a better guitarist, we hit these little pivotal moments, right? And once you go past those moments, things are never the same, right? You learn a new lick, you learn a little music theory. For me, it was really connecting the chords with the scales. So, you know, like many, I started learning scales and chords kind of in two separate universes. And once I realized that putting those universes together makes you a more musical and melodic player, then that was a game changer for me. That's what we're going to talk about today. This is a bit of a continuation video. I've done some other things on the same topic. I'll leave some links in the description, or maybe up here somewhere I'll put a link to that video. But really, it's kind of like, I wish I would have knew then what I know now kind of thing, right? So today we're talking about playing through chord changes, and we're going to just look at a simple 1-4-5, which is in the key of D would be D, G, and A. But we're going to really focus on one small area and what I call limitation practice. We're just going to limit ourselves to this particular area of the guitar. And the first thing we want to do is to be able to see the chords. So let's check that out. My name is Jeffery Marshall. I'm a professional guitarist and guitar instructor. I've been teaching guitar for over 20 years and playing professionally for many, many decades. I want to kind of pass on some of my knowledge and some of the things that might save you some time on your path to becoming a better guitarist. I put out videos once a week here on YouTube, and I also have a Patreon subscription site. It's only $5 a month. You can get any PDF or backing track I have for these lessons there. Plus, there's already over 300 plus video lessons there ready to go for you to check out. So I'll leave a link in the description for that. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so here we have a typical D major scale. Now, this particular D major scale I call pattern number 2 in the cage system because it goes around an A-shaped chord. So here's an A-shaped D chord. Got a little bit of crunch today. We'll have some fun. All right, so we have a D major scale that goes right around that chord shape. So I believe you need to learn these scales, of course, but it doesn't always guarantee that you're going to sound professional or sound like you're playing through the chord changes. So what you want to be able to do is see the chords in that position. Right here is my D chord. And you can see from this diagram right here, here's just the tones of that D chord. So those would be nice resolution tones. Even though we have other notes in the scale, when we get against that D chord, those would be nice resolution chords. But of course, we don't always just play over one chord. So for example, we might go to a G chord. And in this position here, I can see a G chord like a D, right? Right, here's a G note. If I make a D chord, and then I can see the notes of that chord. And then right in the same position, I can see an A chord in the form of an E. So I can see those right inside of this D major scale here. And that will point me in that direction. So when those chords change, I want to probably lean into those chord tones, even though I'm going to be playing within the same scale. I'm in the key of D overall. But for example, the root tone G here is obviously a great note to land on the G chord, but against the D chord, it's like a sus4 note, right? So I just want to be able to target notes a little bit more consciously. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I like to just jam and play within the scale and have some fun too, but I also want to be able to nail the chord changes. And one of the ways I do that is, first of all, I see the notes of the chord in that position. These are all in the same position here, right? Then what I do is I think about the pentatonic scale that goes around that chord shape. So for the D, I have this. That's a D major pentatonic. Now for the G chord, I can see the G major pentatonic right in the same position. And then for the A chord, which is our 5 chord in this case, I can see its pentatonic scale right in that same position. Then back to D. So that's a really clever way. Now those pentatonic scales don't leave the key of D. All the notes are in the key of D. So if I start with those, I'm kind of guaranteeing myself I'm going to sound a bit like the chord that I'm playing over. And we're doing this all in one position, right? So kind of the goal is when the chord changes, when it goes, say, from D to G, I want to lean into some of the notes of the G chord here. Like, for example, the root tone, obviously G, right? The major third of G, which is B. Now, against D, that's a 6, right? And against A, that's a 2. That doesn't mean they're illegal or I can't play them. I just want to know what that effect it's going to have. That note's going to have a certain effect on the sound, right? So if I land on this note here for G, that would be great, right? Because that's the major third of G. But if I lean into it on the D chord, it's an extension. It's a color, right? It's not something I probably want to lay into too much. And the same thing on the A chord. Now, like I said, they're not illegal. They're part of the key. They're part of the scale. But it will make your sound a little bit unresolved, right? So I can kind of go over. I can see the pentatonic, and I can also see the triad arpeggio, which is part of that chord. And then, of course, underneath it, I can still see the whole scale pattern here. So I can bleed in some of those notes too. They're not illegal or anything. It's just what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to really narrow the notes down to how it sounds over each individual chord. And what this does is it allows you to play with what I call intention, right? So you're not just kind of going up and down a scale pattern and hoping it sounds good. You can see within that scale pattern, you can see those chords, okay? Now, just as a side note, those three pentatonic scales, the 1, 4, 5 major, in this case D, G, and A, are also the relative minors of those chords. So B minor is D major pentatonic. It's the same, right? That's our 6 chord. The 2 chord E minor is the same pentatonic scale as the 4 chord G. And the 3 chord F sharp minor is the same pentatonic scale as the 5 chord A. So, you're covering most of your chord, all your chords just about within your chord scale, or probably what you're going to see within your song. Now, like I said, you can play the scale, of course, but this will narrow it down and allow you to play with intention. So I have a little backing track I created for this that will be available. And it's just 2 measures of D, 2 measures of G, 2 measures of A, and then back to D to kind of reset the whole thing again. So what I would do is I would just start with just the chord tones, right? And then the pentatonic scale, and then you can bleed in the rest of the notes of the scale as, now you've kind of got the timing down. So let's try that one time. All right, here we go. I'm going to just play real simple, starting with only the notes of each chord. Okay, as I played through it, I started getting a little bit more complex, but I just started, first of all, with just the chord tones of each chord. And then I went to the pentatonic scale of each chord. And then I started embellishing it. You know, on a major chord, sometimes you can lean into the major third with the minor third as a half step, kind of gives it a little bluesy or jazzy type feel. And you can also add in some of the other color notes of the overall scale pattern too, of course. But what this does is it guarantees that you're going to be playing melodically. Now, if you do this in each position, I've done this before in the around the C-shaped D chord. Now we're moving up to the A. We're just going to spell out the word cage. This is the cage system in action, so to speak, right? And we keep going with this kind of position training, right? And we couple that maybe with some extended pentatonics around the neck. We'll start to get this flow. And anywhere we land, we know which chord we're on. We can see a chord shape. And it's really important to be able to sound like you're playing through the changes, all right? So very powerful tool. And this is, you know, one of the things about the cage system is that a lot of people just fall short, in my opinion, of the cage system. They just think 5 boxes and that's cool. But you can start copying and pasting boxes over the top of each other to be able to see chord changes. And over time, the more you do this, you'll be able to see any chord change, whether it's in the key or not, right? Of course, you're mostly going to be playing chords from within that key. But for example, let's say, for example, my song here also had a C chord in it, right? So, you know, now C is not in the key of D, but it's a, you know, common chord change to go to, but I can see a C chord right here. I could see a scale and I could see the chord tones that go around that. So that allows me to nail that chord change, so to speak, right? So this is a very, very powerful tool. Let's go over it one more time. Here's our full scale pattern. All right, there's our full D major scale pattern. If we go here, we see here's our 1 chord D major. Here's the dark notes here are the arpeggio notes, and the lighter notes are the pentatonic scale that goes around it. And then we have our 4 chord, which in this case is G major. We have the notes of the chord singled out here, and then we have the peripheral notes of the pentatonic around it. And same thing with our 5 chord. Now, here's the thing, is this is true for all keys. It doesn't matter what key I'm in. If I'm in pattern 2, I could be in pattern 2 of F. It's still the same shapes. So now my 4 chord, which is B flat, and my 5 chord, so it's the same shape. So once you do this once, you can just copy and paste it around to change keys. It's a super powerful tool. But I would suggest starting simple. Start with the chord, then the chord tones, then the pentatonic, and then you can start bleeding in other notes like scale notes or neighboring tones around thirds and things like that to kind of spice up your playing. What normally happens is we learn this big complicated pattern, and then we have to kind of figure out what notes are going to sound good. So this method starts with the good sounding notes, and then you can start bleeding in some of the other notes. All right, I want you to give it a try. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to get the PDF or the backing track, of course, you can go to Patreon. Like I said, it's only $5 a month. Very affordable, and there's lots of good stuff. There's over 300 videos that I've recorded over the past 5 or 6 years there for you to check out. So I encourage you to do that. And as always, subscribe and share. I put out videos every week, so I will see you next week. Cheers.